What's migrating constantly? Countless birds. Welcome back to Monkey Boy's Toys, and welcome back to the item of seating furniture that is the sofa. Thanks very much for joining me again. Here's Mr. Hippo to look at. Now this week I'd like to show you some vintage Kenner Star Wars figures that were recently gifted to the channel by the very kind and lovely Matt over at the Retro Room. I have several figures that were donated by Matt, and I also have a few figures that I picked up as well to go along with my Kenner Star Wars collection. So let's get on with that. First things first, I think I need to remove Mr. Hippo from the scene, so there we go. And I'll bring in the first figure, which is a Goran Guard. Now viewers of the channel will see that I had one of these donated to me by Nick over at the Action Podcast, along with several other figures a few weeks ago, but now I have a second Goran Guard. As we know, the Goran Guards often used to stand about in twos, so I'm very pleased to have another loose example of the Goran Guard. A very cool figure. Do like him a lot, so thank you, Matt, I appreciate that. Here's the Goran Guard. Here's his bum. That's what his bum looks like. Let's see if we can find the year that this was. 1983, that looks like. Is that 1983? I think so. Anyway, there we go. There's the Goran Guard. Let's pop him to the back. There we go. And next up we have CLAT, or CLAT, depending on how you say his name. This, of course, is another of Jabba's goons that was seen in Jabba's palace. Of course, this figure also comes in a Skiff Guard uniform, which is basically some sort of magnolia coloured pajamas. But this is the example as we see him in Jabba's palace, with the exception that he normally has a little skirt that he wears, but this particular figure doesn't have the skirt. I might try and pick one up at some point if I can, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm just very happy to have CLAT in the collection. So thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. There's CLAT. Have a look at his bum. Let's see if we can see a date on him somewhere. 1980, is that 3 again? 1983, possibly. There we go. There's CLAT. Pop him there next to the Goran Guard. Okay, now next up we have a character who looks like he should be one of Jabba's goons, and it's PRUNFACE. But PRUNFACE, of course, was a member of the Rebel Alliance, so he was one of the good guys. Here we've got a nice example of PRUNFACE, looking pretty cool, with his sort of orangey eye. He's sort of almost got pink eye, hasn't he? But yeah, there he is. Now, when I was a kid, I always thought that PRUNFACE was one of Jabba's goons. I didn't realise that he was actually seen in the scenes of the rebels when they were planning their whatever it was they were planning. So yeah, I didn't realise he was a good guy. He does look as if he should be sort of in the cantina somewhere, or in Jabba's palace, doesn't he? But there we go. Now, of course, PRUNFACE originally came with a cape. Now, as it happens, I do have a spare Luke Jedi cape, which I thought I would use for PRUNFACE. Although I do like seeing his sort of tunic there and the various design elements on it. I will try and see if this cape fits him. So let's pop that on his head now. See if we can get that on. There we go. Cool. Okay, as I say, it sort of covers up his costume, which is a bit of a shame. I think he looks better without the cape, if I'm honest. But of course, the original figure did come with a cape. So there we go. He can wear my spare Luke Jedi cape, and that will do for now. That's not a problem. So thank you, Matt. There's PRUNFACE. Let's just have a look at his bum. There's his bum, and he is 1984, that looks like. So there we go. Brilliant. There's PRUNFACE. Pop him along there. Next up, we have the Rebel Trooper in the Hoth outfit. This one's quite a loosey-goosey figure, as you can see. His arms are quite wee. He's enjoying himself there. But I'm pleased to have this figure in the collection. I did have one of these when I was a child, but sadly I swapped all my Star Wars figures for my friend's mask collection. A decision which I was very happy with at the time. Financially, I guess I would have been happier keeping hold of the Star Wars figures in the end. But nevertheless, there's the Rebel Trooper with his swingy arms. Woo! I think that's quite fun. Let's have a look at his bum. There's his bum, and he is 1980. There we go, 1980. The Rebel Hoth Trooper. There he is, looking pretty cool. Like him. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate that, dude. Stick him there. Next up, we've got a couple of Imperial figures. First up, we've got the Biker Scout here, or the Scout Trooper, if my camera will focus on him. Here he is. I'm always happy to have another Biker Scout in the collection. This was always one of my favourite figures and favourite characters from the franchise. I thought he was very, very cool indeed. This one does have some yellowing to his body, but that's fine. That's not a problem. He can still be displayed very well along with my other Scout Troopers that I have. I have one on a speeder bike and one standing sort of loose, loitering about next to the speeder bike. So this guy can join those. I'm very happy to add him to the collection. So thank you very much, Matt. Really appreciate that. Let's have a look at his bum. And let's see if we can see what year it is. I can't see. Let's have a look. 1980. What is that? Is that 1983 again? I think it might be 1983, but I can't see it very well with the naked eye, and my eyes are fully naked currently. But yeah, there we go. There's the Scout Trooper. Very cool. Like him. And then next up, we've got another Stormtrooper. So that's cool. Nick from the Action Podcast did send me a Stormtrooper as part of the selection of figures that he sent me a while back. But this will now be the second Stormtrooper that I have, so that's more than enough for me. I won't be army building these as such, but it's nice to have a couple of them so that the one Nick sent me isn't alone. So thank you very much, Matt, for this Stormtrooper. I like this figure a lot more than I thought I would, because it's only a 4 POA figure, because the head doesn't move. And I was never that keen on having any of these as a child. In fact, I don't think I had any Stormtroopers as a child, weird as that may seem. But actually having him in hand, I think it's a really nice figure, so I'm very pleased to have another one in the collection. So I do appreciate that, Matt. Thank you very much. Let's have a look at his bum. And this year of manufacture, 1977. So that's fantastic. The year of my birth. So this toy is exactly as old as I am. So that's fantastic. Love him. Thank you so much, Matt. Let's stand him there. And those 6 figures are the figures that Matt very kindly donated to the channel. So thank you very much, Matt. I really do appreciate that. That was very kind of you to think of me and pass those on. Now the next 3 figures are figures that I have subsequently bought just to help fill out my vintage Kenner collection a little bit. I have by no means anywhere near all of the figures, and I'm not sure if I will collect all of the figures, but I'd like to have a good representation. So I did pick up a few more. First up is Han Solo. Here he is. He didn't have his weapon, but I'm very happy to have him nonetheless. Here he is, looking very cool. Now, I seem to remember him having red stripes down his leg, but this particular example doesn't have them. I guess they've worn off. Someone will tell me in the comments if I'm mistaken, but I'm sure he had red stripes down his leg. But anyway, this is a Han Solo figure that I picked up subsequent to receiving the gifts from Matt. So here's Han Solo. His head looks rather big, doesn't it? Let's have a look at his bum. And this one again is 1977, so part of the first 12 figures that were released. I'm very pleased to have him. Again, this figure is as old as I am, which is quite cool when you think about it. So there we go. There's Han Solo there. Next up, we've got another Han Solo, but this time in the Hoth gear. Now he does have some paint wear to his scarf and some sort of scuffs on his face. Let me see if I can scrape that one off. Okay, there we go. That's a bit better. So yes, it's Han in the Hoth gear. He does have some paint wear. I've just stuck his blaster in his holster at the side here, but he does have his little blaster, as you can see, or as you can't see because my camera won't focus. But yeah, there we go. Now I thought that his holster actually enabled you to put the gun inside it, but of course it doesn't. But I just, rather than have him lose his blaster, I just poke the end in there like that. just for storage purposes, so that he doesn't drop his blaster, because as we know, the Star Wars figures didn't hold on to their weapons particularly well. So anyway, here's Han in his Hoth gear. He does have some paint wear to his hands, again to his scarf as I mentioned earlier, and to the back of his head, but I'm still happy to have him in the collection, and that's good enough for me. I don't necessarily need absolutely perfect examples of these figures. As long as they're not complete beaters, then I'm happy to consider having them in the collection. So that's great. Let's have a look at his bum, and the year is 1980. There we go. He's from 1980. Let's stand him at the other side of the Goran Guard there. And finally, for today, I've got Logray. Now, I think I only had 2, possibly 3 Ewoks when I was a child, and Logray was one of my favourite because of the unique headdress, sort of hood thing that he's wearing here. Of course, it does come off. It is removable. So there's Logray. He's got his sort of handbag with feathers and things hanging from it there. I imagine that's where he keeps his valuable spices and stuff. But there we go. There's the skull headdress that he wears, and he does have his weapon, which is quite cool. This was obviously a unique sculpt. No other characters came with this weapon, as far as I'm aware. So that's quite cool. He does hold it, but not particularly well. And it sort of obscures his face a bit. So anyway, I won't bother putting that in his hand. But there we go. There is Logray. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 figures that I've been able to add to my Kenner vintage collection there. I'm not sure how many I've got in total now, but I must have about 30 or so of them. So it's a reasonable amount. I will look at getting some more of the Kenner line in the future, but I'm happy with how it's progressing at the moment, and as I say, I don't intend to get all of the figures, because there are some that I'm just really not that fond of, and I don't feel that being a completionist with the Kenner Star Wars line is financially the best idea for me. Obviously some of the figures, particularly the last 17, can go for very high prices now, and it's just not something that I feel compelled to do. I don't feel the need to complete the series, so I will pick up a few more in the future and show them on the channel, but for now I'm happy to add these 9 figures into the collection. So that's about all I've got for you this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please take a second to give it a thumbs up and share it with any other countless birds you may know. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and do leave me a comment and let me know if you had any of these figures and which one was your favourite. But until next time, I'm going to make like a shepherd and get the flock out of here. See you later. Bye.